There we go. It's episode 12. Just like that, we're underway. Let's jump into a wild week.
Yeah, that would be the one way
of not only earnings, but for the overall market as well. We say goodbye to January. That was a positive month. Happy Saturday, by the way. I hope everyone's
and we'll
enjoying
say goodbye
the
to
weekend.
Kat today, by the way.
Yeah,
well.
we say goodbye to
that,
Kat.
and we get
Kat's fine. Don't worry. She didn't die or anything.
No,
she just moved on to another.
It's like the other day on the show. I think Neil said something like "in memory of something." I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, the guy's alive.
No,
like, I don't remember what it was.
Yeah,
it was like, I forget what it was.
No,
but yeah.
Kat, moving on to another opportunity.
This is episode 12. So we talked about most fail by 20. We're now more than halfway there.
8 to go.
Sounds like 60%, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah,
we're in the swag today.
I know, it's a Friday feel around here.
It sure is.
We say goodbye to the month of January. It was a positive month of January, right across the board. We can do a quick recap here for the monthly charts. That's the S&P. Look at that. We're already in February, and we're already green on the month for February in a decent sized fashion. But 1, 2, 3 in a row for the S&P. There's 1, 2, 3 in a row. For the NASDAQ, the Dow. No one cares about the Dow, but I'll show it anyways. 3 in a row.
Why would no one care about the Dow?
It's 30 stocks. Who cares? Something historic.
I mean, goes up, money grows. All right, what's the historic?
Something historic happened on, what day is today? Friday. It's Saturday.
Second.
It's Saturday where you are, but it's Friday
How was it ground? I feel like this was the most
ceremonious.
Right.
I agree.
Celebrated, ceremonious Groundhog Day of all time. We talked about it on the show, and I still don't know if
early spring. Early spring.
That makes sense. I feel like it's spring right now, so
yeah.
that's good. Okay, good.
I don't know if we ever had winter.
You excited about early spring? I mean, you're a skier. I know it's been disappointing.
It's been so dreary and gray and rainy, but we did some. Our crack team of researchers around here did some research.
Yeah.
And
who was that? Be Fabian?
That was Punxsutawney Phil, I think.
Yeah, Punxsutawney Phil, yeah.
So we did
That's my guy.
We did some
and
back
there's
testing.
Wyerton Willie.
Yeah, Wyerton Willie was the one that saw shadow, so early spring.
Okay.
But it was Punxsutawney Phil we did some research on. Some back testing on Punxsutawney Phil.
Yeah, and it was 40%.
He's terrible at it.
Yeah, he's terrible at it.
He's pretty terrible.
I mean, why are we blaming a groundhog for this? I mean, it was our stupid reasoning, like, oh, is this dude gonna see his shadow or not? Like, I don't know.
Poor thing, man. They drag him out of his
I'm down with it.
Sleep and hold him up in the cold, and he's like, what the hell's going on?
So I saw something on Kimmel the other day, and it was. So I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to say it anyways. It's so stupid. Is that he had a montage of everybody saying, "Oh my God, what happened to January?" But honestly, that was a pretty
kind of true.
Yeah, that was kind of a pretty quick month.
True.
The thing about trading, Brendan, is it's the same thing every day, but to me it's very exciting, and the day goes by so quick, and then it's like, oh my gosh, tomorrow's earnings, and you look forward to that, and they happen, then it's over, then there's something else the next day, and the next day, and the next day.
It was a blur. It was
and now it's episode 12. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's get ready to rock and roll, and let's talk about some of these monster earnings.
It was. I mentioned on the show today. If you haven't already, make sure you join us for the live show every single day on YouTube. Wherever you find your YouTube,
Oh, are we doing any Rumble? We had this discussion last podcast about Rumble with their new ad-supported tiering. TBD. I like that.
Let's.
I F with that. That goes back to what we did on the show.
I mentioned there was a historic event.
Oh yes, what was it?
That happened on Friday. Let's show this chart and we'll talk about it.
Did you finally have a Timbit or?
I did not. That would not be.
Donut hole that would be for the kids out there.
That's what Meta did on Friday.
Yeah.
The biggest single day market cap gain.
One bang.
Ever.
Yeah.
This goes back to the beginning of the market.
So if you held all of the shares of Meta of all time, you had every single share, $205 billion gained today. That there's not even companies that have those market caps.
There's a lot of companies that don't have that market.
I feel like there's 10 that do.
That's just madness to try and wrap your head around. That is absolutely
insane. But I do have, so Meta, obviously there with the biggest, and I told you not to ruin this for me because I actually have the other side of this story. It actually also suffered, and right here, this is a weekly chart, but it also suffered the largest losing day of all time as well back in, we have it there, It was the February 3rd of 2022. So right into here. I was just trying to find the date because this is a weekly
Does
chart.
it say what the market cap was though?
Yeah. So the market cap, I don't know, but they lost more than 232 billion.
Wow.
So today their gain is 209 billion,
Yeah.
and their 205 billion,
Yeah.
and their loss on that day was 232 billion. And it was also, well, it was on a Thursday report, but there we go. So here's the move on my screen. It was that major move down where we finally broke that resistance of $300 and ended the week at 235, down $75. So that was an absolute monster. But today's move is like just as equally as impressive. But the problem is there's buybacks and all that. So there's probably not as many shares outstanding.
That's a weekly chart, and that candle of this week is just.
Yeah.
Go back to the.
I mean, here it is right here, breaking through that 400. There's that top.
That's a weekly candle.
Yeah. And everyone was making fun of Zuckerberg, right? When not making fun, but the name. When they switched over from, or the ticker symbol from FB to Meta, they made that whole change. That really sort of started it all down because then we were all questioning what was the idea behind Reality Labs.
Yeah.
And then now you're finally starting to, and we'll have some of these stats coming through, but finally there, Reality Labs now, for the first time, they had $1 billion in sales. So that's nice. Still minus 4.7 billion, but they were losing 10, 15, 20 billion a quarter with no sales whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. My son just turned 12. He wanted a gift card for Oculus and Steam. So, he's playing the PC game, but also the Oculus. Like we have a Switch. He's got the PC, he's got an iPhone, iPad, all that, but he wants to get more games for the Oculus. I feel like that's going to be a good switch. And honestly, although we've been disappointed with Meta and their performance of that, I think the Vision Pro, which we're probably going to get into on Apple's reports, I feel like that justifies the space now. And we're going to see what Apple can produce with that, but I'm excited for the Oculus. You've still never tried it, I don't think.
I have not.
I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to bring it in one day because you can hook it up to the Wi-Fi. And I want to see you, Brendan, and you only. Maybe we'll do it live on air.
We should do it
I'm
on
going
the
to load
podcast.
up the
Let's
game.
do it on the podcast. Why not?
Let's do it on podcast, sure.
Yeah.
So we're going to find a spot. I'm going to get the game because I think it's probably still there. I haven't put it on in a while. Where you go up. Are you afraid of heights or?
Very much so, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so my wife is does not prefer this.
Not a fan.
I feel like I'm fine with heights. Yes, I don't know what it's called, but basically you go into an elevator and you feel.
You've told me.
Yeah, you go up, and then the elevator door opens up.
It's like construction.
And there's a plank, right? So it's like the Empire State, where all those guys are sitting on it's like an old picture from the 1920s or whatever, where all the construction workers are sitting on the piece of metal there. And you got to go out and walk, and you look down, you hear the wind blowing, and you look down.
Have you done it?
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I cannot walk.
I probably won't.
But my kid's walking out like it's just like do.
Like he's on the living room
both
floor.
Kids, like absolutely no problem. And I flat out know that I'm in my living room and ain't nothing gonna happen, but I still can't do it. Let us know in the comments if that's something that anyone's tried that. But I'm gonna throw Brendan under the Oculus and we're gonna try that. Let me figure that out.
I was just thinking.
And then we could get Oculus to sponsor us.
And or Vision Pro, Apple.
I'll take both.
We should do immersive podcasts.
Yeah.
For
Can we
Vision
expense
Pro.
Vision Pros? Yes, Brendan. Yes, Ramin already said yes. Confirmed it.
Vision
already.
Pros
See ya,
for
Kat.
everyone.
Thank you for everything. Kat is out of the cat is out of the building.
The cat era has ended. Onward. Let's talk about February. Let's talk about February because
what is that stat that you have?
It's day 2 of February. It's day 3 or 4 or 5 for you, right, when you're watching. But for us, it's day 2. We're at the beginning. So let's have a look at what on average happens in the month of February. And there's a couple of key points around this. And that is that, hey, guess what? It's an election year, if anyone had missed that. And it's all about the NASDAQ, typically, on election years. 1.8%.
February performance is what?
1.8%.
What do you think sparks that? Or is that what you're going to ask me?
People, literally word for word, what I was going to ask you, but people get excited about an election coming in, what is it, like still 6 months away, and say, let's buy tech stocks?
The only, I can't really relate that stat. What was the stat on average for February? Do we have that there?
S&P?
Or anything, NASDAQ, whatever. Like, what is the average February? Because I can't, just for that exact reason. Is it maybe because of the primaries?
I would say, just looking at the chart, I mean, I would say between 1 and 1.5%. So it is
Okay,
positive.
so 1 to 1. So you're up about another 0.5% on average more in February than average.
Right.
Okay, so I was going to say if that's true due to election year, the market likes one thing, and that's certainty. So I'm wondering if, as the primaries, and I don't know how many more there are. I know they've had Delaware and maybe Iowa or something like that. And those two were obviously decisive one way. And I just wonder if the market sees these and says, okay, we've had them in January. Now maybe we know who the incumbents or who's going to be running for president, and then maybe that gives a little bump to that. But the other reason I was going to think because you can't average 1.5% a month.
No.
The S&P on average is 10.7% a year. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
So I would think February is a positive month because January is behind us, meaning that any sort of uncertainties or jittery feelings people had about the new year, they probably get confirmation from a strong January and then put it in February.
Yeah.
Like, how much FOMO do we have? Plus, you also get the end of quarters. So now everybody's come to earnings in January.
Some books being adjusted.
Reporting fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Also, I'm just coming up with a lot of answers. I didn't think I'd have any. Another reason could be also because of the tax loss harvesting that happened at the end of the year. People now putting their money back
to work.
in.
Yeah.
Not just a pretty face over here, Brenda.
On the other side of the scale, and we've talked about this on the live show a lot, but look at how terrible September is versus the rest of the year.
That's my birth month.
Literally every month, every other month
Virgo.
is positive. Every other month is positive.
What?
Except for September.
Oh, man.
My mom's a Virgo.
Man, what's going on there?
What day is your birthday?
In September. Why do I have to give you the exact date?
Okay.
It's the 17th. September 17th.
Okay.
What, you have a family member born that
mom.
day? Same day?
No, not same day.
Oh,
No,
whew.
same month.
Me and
But
my
yeah.
brother are Irish twins.
What does that mean?
We're born.
Same day, different year?
Yeah. Exactly
That's
1 year
crazy.
apart.
That's great. That's calculated.
Okay, so in my age, I've actually thought about that. What is I'm going to throw up. what is what month is September? The ninth month. Come on, Brendan. What is happening here? The ninth month. I know it's Friday. I know you've said that you're a little bit off today. So if you go back 9 months, there could have been like a ceremonious event that sparked
New Year's.
baby making.
Fun times around New Year's.
Damn parents, why do we have to talk about that?
How you feeling?
I did.
How you feeling? Good?
Oh yeah, I did start about it. I'm feeling really good. Like,
right,
really,
cool.
really good, man. We had a great day trading, and it goes back to that meta. We had Daniel Shea on the podcast yesterday, on the market recap show, which is a podcast.
Watch it on Spotify.
Yeah, make sure you guys watch it. Watch it on
Go check
Spotify. Watch
it out.
it. It's Apple Podcast. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Go get it. But and she said, and this is something that was really cool actually. You know how you have the implied move? So the implied move for Meta based on the options, they used the front month contract for the options. The implied move for Meta was just 6.3 or 6.9%, somewhere in there. She said when you get a double or more on the implied move, the move will generally, and I should have got the percentage, but more positive than not, will continue that move in the very next day, and it will start early. And if you look at Meta today, I mean, here's the 5-minute chart at the bottom. We opened up at 4 bills, or that's yesterday, that move. Here's the move right here. I was gonna say we didn't open at $400 yesterday. We opened at 450, Brendan, and then it just climbed. These are 5-minute charts. 1 candles, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 in a row, booming up $20 extra on that 400.
Yeah.
So shout out to Daniel Shea on that one, because if you get, and I'm gonna use this next week, if we get an extended beat or miss, more than double the expectation, look for a move to continue in that direction. It does have a lot to do with options and the implied volatility. So shout out to that and everybody watching the Market Recap Show and Trader TV Live, because we're just gonna keep doing what we're doing. Show's getting better, the guests are getting better, we're getting better and bigger trade opportunities. We're not stopping, by the way.
How many coffees did you have today?
Actually, very little, because you know why?
Okay.
It's too damn hot in here.
Have you?
I know I'm wearing this. I don't even have a t-shirt on
Have
underneath.
you noticed that they're lacking almond milk these days?
Not anymore, baby.
Oh, it's back.
The last coffee that I poured there at about 2:30, I used
Order
the almond
filled.
milk. It's in there. I opened it up. They got order is now
Boom.
filled,
All right.
and I didn't take a sip of that coffee.
I'm very happy about that. I want to mention this real quick. We've talked about it before, but
What about oat milk?
this is.
We're just drinking some water here because
This is visualized.
honestly-
Okay, drink your water. Let me talk about the chart, all right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Give me 2 minutes. This is visualized the S&P 500 with the Mag 7 versus the S&P 500 without the Mag 7, going back to
Let me guess which one is of without.
halfway through 2022, I guess, or the beginning of 2022.
What's wrong with the Mag 7? What's wrong with having? I'm going to
It'd
ask
be
you.
up 10% in 2 years
Right.
without them.
Okay, but the Mag 7 is just something that's like made up by Jim Cramer or by whoever.
It's a name,
right?
whatever.
So what I'm
Facts
getting
are
at,
facts,
what I'm
though.
getting at is like if you go back into the 80s and stuff like that, I wonder if it was just never considered like this. What about if you pulled out IBM? You know, what if you pulled out some of these big XOM, some of the big names, and you talked about the Dow,
Yeah.
right? Some of these big names that existed then that maybe don't exist now, the UPS, and names that were of huge, huge market caps back then. I just wonder how much influence they would have had back then. Because right now, it's just like there's been such a productivity boom, and I want to talk about that as well. In all of these
I think
names.
the point with this, though, that everyone needs to understand and take away from this is the simple fact that it's the most heavily weighted group the market has ever had to pay attention to. And that's just a visual representation of that. 10% with, 60% without in 2 years.
But let's be honest,
Or other way around,
who is not having some exposure to Apple?
Exactly.
Or,
I mean, we were talking about it the other day. You buy Berkshire Hathaway, you get mostly Apple.
And I mean, we've known about Warren. I mean, the very first investing book I ever read was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it's just about investing in basically Coca-Colas of the world, dividend names, Enbridges, and things like that. So one of the very first stocks that I actually bought was Enbridge, and then a few other bank stocks to get the dividend and things like that. And I just feel like if you follow your own plan, no matter what it is, you will find yourself into some winners. And we say this all the time, and I'm actually using this on my trading as well, Brendo. If I'm going to put in a lot of shares, just even on scalping, day trading, as we do every single day live on TraderTV.Live, I want to put my money in when I'm making a bet on the biggest and the best companies, because Carvana can move wherever it wants to move. Microsoft and Apple, and you saw Meta at the end of the day. We caught a beautiful short, like a $7 or $8 winner short on Meta today, even though the name's up 21%.
Nice.
It's because when the follow through happens, there's pile on. They turn the algos on. And I feel like it's the same thing about your story there, is that when they're looking to buy names, add them into ETFs, build new ETFs. A lot of them are productivity and tech-based. And of course, you're gonna throw Microsoft in there, Apple in there, and a lot of them has to do with passive investing. People just simply put, aren't getting out.
They made 20% in overnight. You know, there's going to be a lot of selling.
Yeah, 205 billion market cap.
It's insane.
I sold today.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Some.
I'm sure there's lots that joined you. How much of a problem is this, on the other hand? This is what happened today for January non-farm payrolls. Comes in monstrously above what was expected, 353,000 versus, I think it was 175 was the expectation or something in that neighborhood. No, it was 187 expected. So monstrous to the upside. And not only that, they revised December to 333.
Oh, they did. They revised it up?
It was 220.
Right.
And they revised it to 330.
I didn't even realize. I was looking at that number. I thought that was a little bit high. Normally, I feel like the revisions would have been the other way. I was expecting a revision down.
No. They're hiding the strength in this.
There's the seasonal adjustment I thought about teachers being hired.
No, they're hiding the seasonal. They're hiding the ridiculous strength in not only
they don't want to come out with
employment
it. They'll just slip it in there afterwards
and hope nobody.
So like this 350 number could be 450 next month.
Exactly.
Absolutely monstrous number. I mean, I don't know. Do we want to talk about the Fed?
I mean, we'll get into
meeting,
that.
Or
I was going to lead into it.
Because I don't have anything to say about the jobs other than the fact that the word productivity, I feel like, is the one. We talked about the year of efficiencies.
But who cares about jobs in itself?
Right.
The point here is,
who cares about jobs?
The last thing, a lot of people care about jobs, but The last thing we heard out of Fed Chair Powell's mouth on Wednesday was, we're going to be data dependent.
Yeah, I was actually...
Here's more data suggesting that why the hell are they ever going to cut interest rates this year?
You know, let me check what this CME Fed rate tool is right now, man. Because, like, honestly, why is it even 60% chance? Okay, here we go, Brendo. Now come over to my screen. We're a little bit more hot fire right now. Now you're 80% likely to have no movement at all.
That's for March?
That's for March.
Well, I mean, he said no cuts in March.
I know, but remember yesterday, even yesterday, it was 60.
It was still pricing in.
So now we're going to get much more. Oh man, remember me and you. Go to May.
Yeah.
I just pulled off my screen. Okay, let's go to May. Let's see what May is pricing in right here. Okay, so this is the cut. So they are talking about 60% worth of a cut into May, right? Well, what are we at right now? Hold on a second.
Yeah, but that's 60.
Yeah, that's 60%. So that's a quarter of a point only.
But it's 60 plus the 13, right?
Or so you're going to go, so there's a 13, right. So there's a 30% chance of, so add this up, you're 75 the other way.
Yeah. So,
but we know the cut's coming.
The market is calling BS on this, but like GDP was 3.3% in the preliminary number. We're still getting 350,000 job prints on a monthly basis. Like, why are they going to cut? They don't need to.
Here's a quote from Powell. I wrote it down. It might be not verbatim. Not comfortable moving rates until we sustain a comfortable trend towards 2%. On the PCE. So we're there, but they want to see it remain there consistently. Maybe that happens in May, right? So May's a long time from now, man. February, March, April, May? Yeah. Like now, May 5th month?
Yeah. Here's another thing to consider with this. March is the first time in 2024 we'll get the dot plot renewed.
Really?
And the economic projections renewed at the March meeting. So all of the, remember the dot plot that we had in December was the one that everyone kind of leaned on and said, oh, it's pricing in 3 cuts. It's pricing in 150 basis points worth of cuts throughout 2024. If that comes out in March now and all of that is gone or pushed, maybe into 2025 even.
Does that send the market down finally? I mean, this is, Brennan, this is episode 12, episode 8 or 7, or go back and watch them all if you got a lot of time.
Yeah.
Me and you were talking about that. We both, I feel like, didn't think that the market had this right. We didn't think there was going to be a 150 basis point cut. Now you get stronger market. Right out of Powell's mouth there, the numbers are coming into line where they need them with these extreme rates. I think it's bad that they're hanging out up here. I think it's bad for certain sectors. I worry a little bit about housing. We talked about refinancing of mortgages or whatnot. What the housing market's going to project forward, because if you were buying or planning on buying a home, maybe you got locked into a mortgage rate, maybe you didn't, maybe you were hoping that, hey, I'd get 50-point relief in March, I'd get 50 points again, I'd get 150 over the year. Yeah. Maybe now you'll just get 100. We went straight up from 0 to 500.
Yeah, literally.
Can we not get a little bit of a relief back in a little bit here? But the numbers aren't going to go. The numbers aren't going to go. The workforce is just so amazing right now, and that's why I talked about productivity.
Yeah. But that all ties in, right? Like,
but is AI creating more jobs, actually, it seems like? I would say it's not.
Something is, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, so I think we're on a slippery slope right now where eventually, because I asked that question and right out of Fabian's mouth is no, and I think that that's true. AI is going to take jobs away. But for
is it
now,
though? I don't know.
Well, because the thing is like...
It certainly hasn't yet.
If you were, for example, an analyst or something, you would need potentially, if you're at an investment bank and you want someone to analyze certain statistics, what does Meta's quarter look like? The last 12 quarters.
But is that not just efficiency though? Like being
No, but now you can just that would have taken hours. Like
exactly.
If I asked you to say, how many times did Meta over their last 12 reports say the word AI?
Yeah.
You'd have to thumb through the last 12. Yeah, I know. It's a tease for what's coming up here, but this is what I do. You'd have to thumb through a bunch of those reports to find exactly that. Now you can upload all of those reports into Grok, Bard, Freddy, whatever they're
Name your
named,
weird
Chat,
AI.
anything, Chat GPT, and it would literally spit it out.
Yeah.
Would you say under 30 minutes? Like to put it all together? No, not the spitting out, but I'm just saying by the time you uploaded all the reports.
No, the longest time in that process is you, not it.
Is me, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
It'll spit it out instantly.
Maybe it takes an hour. Yeah. No, but that's the other point, is that, so then that person, then their job, that would have been a month, or not a month, maybe that was a day, okay? But now it's 10 minutes. Yeah. So what are they going to do with the other 300 minutes?
But that's efficiency, though, and that's what I was saying. And to go back on what I mentioned there, it hasn't yet. I think it has from certain industries, and one of those has been print and media and writing. Right. Writing across the board has suffered from this, or writers across the board has suffered from this. But outside of that, I haven't seen it yet. Speaking of AI, as you teed up, we mentioned this on the show. Make sure you join us every day on the live show. Hit the like and subscribe down below. There were, what is this? Going back to the beginning of 2021, all the focus was on, okay, how many times on an earnings call was a CEO or whoever was speaking mentioning AI in the actual earnings call? This has finally gotten to a point, and I even said this, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, Sharif and I were talking during the pre-market. I think it's actually gotten to a point where that is now a negative. Because we heard from both Google and Microsoft that their CapEx during these earnings calls for the remainder of this year on both sides was going to go up because of AI. So this chart is just highlighting the simple fact that up to Q3 of 2023, it was still how many times can we possibly say the word or term, whatever you want to call it, AI. And NVIDIA was the massive winner in that race with 154 mentions. 154 mentions in an earnings call for Q3. But look at Q4. Throw that back up.
We don't have them yet.
Not all of them, but we have some.
Yeah, so Google a little bit higher, Microsoft.
But comparatively speaking, I think there's an argument to be made here that this is now turning into a negative, not a positive. What does that mean? Probably nothing.
Why is it turning into a negative?
Because it's turning into a point where they are here, and
so it's just like
what is the point?
Right, you just keep mentioning it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, all right, so for me, what was important about Microsoft's quarter, in my opinion, was the mention of AI and how, to your point, Brendo, how it can actually add to your EPS. You know, they mentioned about, and I'll get the stats in a second, but it was 50% of new clients in whatever it was, Teams or Copilot, were on the enterprise side, and a certain amount were consumer side. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for companies that not just mention AI, but actually have a stable plan to get generative AI, artificial intelligence, however you're going to use it, into a product that you can monetize. Right. And I feel like Microsoft is really, Google can talk about Bard all they want, and I think Meta is going to be a huge beneficiary of Llama and their large language model because of how it can, and look, Reels, 2.1 billion daily active users. If they can use artificial intelligence to focus the ad spend to target proper viewers, or because you're the customer when you're using Meta. So if you as the customer, and they know that Instagram, well, Meta, the Reels, the Instagram Reels, or I even think WhatsApp, there's some potential there. If they can figure out how to use that technology to better address ad, that's where they get all their money from. I think that's important. I'm disappointed in Apple. That's that front line. Like, look, last year, Q4, 1 mention. Q1, Q4 of 2022, but reported in Q3. Q1, 3. Q2, 6 mentions. Q3, 9 mentions.
But does that not get to a point where they're doing that on purpose, just to be Apple?
Yeah, because Apple mentioned June 1st as their AI event.
Yeah, but I mean that chart specifically. But everyone else is doing it, so Apple's going to do something else.
When I think about what stocks move on, they don't, you and I, we don't delve through the reports. you do look for key mentions
Sure.
of certain things.
Sure.
So I just think that maybe as a lazy investor, maybe you say, oh my God, they're doing AI. We got to pile in. I mean, quite clearly that's working. Look at SMCI.
Right.
SMCI is up 85% in a week.
Yeah.
You know, because the chips are hot. Nvidia is going from 500 and January 18th to what, 670 close today,
Crazy.
February 2nd.
Crazy.
So I just feel like we're not actually projecting what we feel about AI. The stocks are front running this, but maybe it's right.
But I think from Apple's case,
Yeah, Apple's a little bit of a different beast. I think,
when they come to the table, they always come with the best
of the best.
of whatever it is
Yeah.
that they come with.
Yeah, that's the Vision Pro too.
And they've never been the company that talks about it first and says how great it's going to be. They just show up with something that just crushes everyone else. So whether it's June, whether it's whenever that we get Apple's entrance into this.
But I'm with you. I'm
going to be
tired of AI. I am tired of it.
yeah.
I don't even remember the last time I even opened up that symbol, C3 AI.
Hey,
You know, and I don't trade that, and I don't really trade off of AI news. Are we done with the Fed? Because I have one more thing I want to talk about.
yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we talked about where the market could possibly go. We used productivity, efficiency, those terms. We threw them around a little bit. And then we talked about the jobless rate and the unemployment rate, everything sort of hitting key levels. So this is number of tech.
Expand that.
I know the thing is it's not a
F11.
F11. But it's not doing anything. No, I have to. Damn it, Brendan! I need to do the other thing. Hold on a second. I need to. Hold on a second. Scroll. Whoa! Hello. Okay, here we go. There. Is that better? That's good. That's perfect.
Perfect.
Look at that. So if you hold Control and the
Technology.
scroll thing on your,
Technology.
where's that OK Boomer thing? But all right. Yay technology. All right, so this is number of tech employees let go as of February 2nd. The only thing I want to note is,
Are we in a recession?
no, but we're here in January, you're starting to see a little bit of an uptick in employees being let go with layoffs. So I only wrote down a couple here of note. I thought PayPal cutting 2,500 jobs was pretty interesting. SAP's right here with a big number. See on January 23rd, 8,000 people right there. Xerox is right there, 3,007. So this is off the website, trueup.io. So I don't know.
Shout out to TrueUp.
Shout out to them. I never heard Telefonica, but there's PayPal. I was just noting some key ones.
I think
So-
it's Europe. Telephone.
yeah, so there's PayPal, 2,500 jobs. I noted UPS was 12,000.
Yeah,
we talked about that on the show. So not only is it, this is just tech, but not only is it tech. So what I'm getting at here is that people are confident, and I think you brought up last podcast or podcast before that a mutual friend was talking about there's a lot of people that are a little nervous about mortgages and potentially not being able to pay. As these rates continue to go higher, they may have overspent on their dwelling. And if they start to lose their job, then potentially the market gets flooded with real estate. And then, Brendan, whether or not the market is up or down, you're going to get headlines on TV shows, late night, this and that. What's going on with the real estate market?
Yeah.
Are we in a recession? People are losing jobs. And then people just hit the sell button. So that's something for me.
Two things on that. One,
How do I unzoom?
the Canadian real estate market, the Canadian economy in general is way different than the US at this point. So I think if that is the case in Canada, yes, that could happen. And that could be, on its own, could be the trigger that the Bank of Canada, at least, is almost forced to.
They had no change, right? Last time?
50 bit. No, they haven't cut yet. But that could force their hand. And then the other thing is the UPS note was interesting. 12,000 jobs get cut.
Yeah.
Wasn't it 6 weeks ago, I think, or a couple of months ago, they were talking about giving drivers $170,000 by the end of 2024?
Okay, so that was a story there that you just nailed because, they had the strike and they had the negotiation and then the axing some jobs. So maybe they're overpaid.
Clearly.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a delivery.
I saw somebody, I won't say who, but
maybe I'm overpaid.
there was a Twitter account that posted a very funny tweet that went back to that day and said, drivers are now making $170,000, and it was like a guy as a UPS driver and then women like looking to the UPS driver as like, oh, 170,000. So like,
I like how women look at
being
you,
being a UPS driver back then was like now sought after.
Right.
And then the tweet was not anymore.
You know what, to your point, I just called up New York Times. This stock, we were talking about some of the affected businesses here. The NYT had a very nice bottom there back in July 22 there, $30. Now up to 50 and trying to break a little bit higher. I'm wondering about this name as well. I don't know if they're a bio candidate or not. They have earnings in 3 days, but this is a nice one. And we talked about some of the possibilities of who owns different media that these AI programs are using. New York Times could be an interesting one. I wonder if it is a bio candidate for somebody looking to grab historical information or whatever. I know it's all public, but I just wonder if something's coming from that. Anyways,
I wonder,
New York Times.
We might have to pay attention to that earnings report because I don't know this sitting here right now, but what percent of their business is now online versus print? I bet you it's higher than.
Can we put that into chat and ask it?
I bet you it's higher than you think.
What percentage is online? Oh yeah,
or digital. Let's call it digital.
Well, when I grew up in the lovely town of Brampton, as you did as well.
I did not, but close.
Pardon?
I did not.
Caledon, wasn't it? Oh yeah, I forgot. You guys in Caledon, you know. Yeah, exactly. It's like I can't win with this guy. No, look, if I grew up in Caledon, I would also deny growing up.
Definitely
in Brampton.
did not.
So shout out to Brendan for that one. But it's like a suburb of Brampton.
Brampton.
Okay, but now I don't even remember what I was talking about. We used to have the newspaper delivered every single day, the Toronto Star.
Yeah.
Every single morning.
Yeah.
Every single morning. And now I don't even remember, honestly, the last time I picked up a print.
Yeah, exactly.
No, really?
Exactly.
Really? Do you remember? Like even magazines, honestly. No. Do you know, actually, sad story. Here, are you ready? It's not that sad. Sports Illustrated.
Right.
Gone.
But again, that's another medium, if you will, that's moved online and is now very much digital.
But I just feel like we're missing that, man. Like I remember I started and I got my first subscription to Sports Illustrated Kids.
Yeah.
And then you would read the articles and then you graduated up into the Sports Illustrated whatever.
I'm making an executive.
Yeah, go turn the heat down in this place. Jeez. Woo.
Very hot in here.
Oh wow, you're really turning it down. All right, let's get. Brendan, you made the executive decision, and we're like an hour into this thing. We're almost over.
Should we talk about Amazon? Because it's almost an hour, and we're not even through big tech yet. Amazon did stuff and sold a lot of crap, and
I feel like we can do another podcast.
24.2 billion in revenue. That doesn't sound right. No, it's way more than that. Why does it say 24.2 billion in revenue?
Let me check. It probably is right.
Wasn't it like 124.2 billion in revenue? I'll double check, but anyways, they had a absolute insane, no, it was revenue. They had an absolute insane quarter. There was not a single number from their quarter that did not beat, and there was not a single number from their quarter that didn't absolutely crush everything. And I'm very excited, are you, about Rufus. You can now go on Amazon, or I don't know if it's out yet, but eventually you're going to be able to go on Amazon and experience, what they call it, a conversational AI shopping assistant.
You're excited about that? I like to talk to less people, not more people. AMZN. So what does that mean? So you would, how do you think they're going to
if you're in, stay with me.
Yeah.
If you're in the car, hands-free, obviously.
Focusing on the road,
Driving. 10 and 2.
Nope.
12 and whatever. Doesn't matter.
I do the gangster one. I either do the gangster lean where you have the one on the top, or I just kind of cruise with my hand at the bottom, you know?
Anyways, you realize that you're suddenly out of
streets of Brampton. I'm from Brendan.
Paper towel.
Yeah. Oh, and then you
can by voice only say, "Hey,
Rufus,
Google,
okay,
open Amazon,
and
hey Rufus, order me paper towel."
Some bounty.
Yeah.
I thought you could already do that, but I mean it just goes back to the same stuff, man. I mean, I think you want to just keep on going with this story. I mean, I just look at the charts, honestly, and this is the one name, if you come over to the weekly chart here, Amazon still has a ways to go to get to all-time high. I mean, $15, that's about 10% higher, and you're there. I shouldn't say it's a ways to go. We're up 8% today, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm really happy with AWS.
Yeah.
That was a great report for them. They beat on that side of things. I think if they can grow that business, I really like it. I'm not afraid of Amazon with competition. I think that they've really built a moat around that. I mean, I don't even have another app on my phone that I would even open to buy anything. I would think maybe Best Buy I would use for electronics. But other than that, like you said, I think they're squashing Costco. I think they're as far as the online app game is concerned. I don't think Walmart, I never considered doing that. And of course, we're in Canada, so there could be some benefits of that. And then they have that new $3.99, I believe that's what it is in Canada.
Everyone.
Oh,
even if
I just don't know the price.
I think it's $3.99.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
So that's going to be another revenue thing there. Jeff Bezos is not even really it's new management. They got new direction. Their iRobot deal fell through, so maybe they're saving a little bit of money by not having to invest in iRobot. No, but I'm just saying.
What was that even worth?
$100
million or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to find this number.
100?
It's, I know for a fact it's way bigger than that. It's driving me nuts now, but anyways. It's, even the guide was like 184 billion.
I thought I had Amazon stuff here, but I only have Google, Microsoft.
Because we were talking about
Meta.
Sitting here, Sharif and I were talking about the other day, sitting here at the end of a quarter and being able to talk about $200 in revenue.
Oh, yeah.
Like in a quarter, it's insane.
Yeah, but the thing is like their margins are so small on those products.
Exactly.
So, the higher revenue, not necessarily leading to more margin, but the thing is like
it's all relative. It's
all relative, and they're spanking it, man. I mean, every single month, Amazon's, if you just look at the weekly chart, we don't even have, this is from, well, again, most stocks will be like this, but if you even go back here to a year ago, which is right into here, this little swoon back, this is February. So if you're gonna start with let's just start with a red week. That's one red week, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 maybe. Maybe 11 red weeks since a year. So how many years? How many weeks in a year? 52 or so? So that's 20%. So 80% of the weeks is up for Amazon.
That's crazy.
So like punch long at the beginning of the week and get out on Friday 80% of the time. Bob, Brendan, is my uncle and maybe not yours. But if you do that, then Bob's your uncle because that's been the winning trade so far. The question that everyone wants to know is, will it continue? I'm here to tell you, yes, I do think it will.
All right, let's go on to, I agree completely. That was such a miss, but whatever.
The other point is that there's money that people will, it's that kind of thing there with the FOMO. Not that you have it, but it's just like.
No, I do.
You do, so it's just like, I think that happened to Meta today a little bit too.
100%.
I went in the back.
Who's buying it even Tuesday this week?
Well, the most ridiculous thing was, I went into the back and I was talking with some of the programmers or whatever. Actually, he's not a programmer, and we were talking and he goes, oh my God, Meta just delivered a dividend. And I go, yeah, man. And he's like, it's now a value stock. I'm like, huh? And then if you look through the numbers, maybe that is what it is. But I said, you're going to buy a $480 name for a 50-cent dividend per quarter?
And then call it to yourself a value stock.
And then I was like, the last thing you want is people thinking Meta's a value stock because value stocks have different PEs slapped on them than growth stocks. So I said, basically, shut your mouth. Let's keep this as a growth name so that we can keep projecting these crazy expectations on the name. And actually, I think they have a lot of growth divisions still there with Meta. I'm super excited, man. Our boy Sharif's buying the glasses for some strange reason. It's just going up. And shout out to Sharif because I know you're listening. What's up, my guy?
It's trading, hey Sharif. It's trading 34 times right now, as of the close.
I wonder what the historical.
But that's not that bad.
That's what I was gonna say. That's why I said actually.
Pull up NVIDIA or AMD.
No, NVIDIA's 27 though times because their numbers are that's forward looking.
Yeah, AMD is definitely not.
AMD is 45. Bro, I came prepared, bro. That's right on here. That's one of the notes.
There was a chip name I was looking at that was 1,000 or in that neighborhood.
AMD PE 45, NVIDIA 25. But the thing about it is AMD's revenue forecast light. I'm nervous about NVIDIA coming through. Let me find the exact date for every.
They said all this last quarter too, and look what.
Yeah, but at some point, man,
everybody on the initial gap.
To the roost.
On the initial gap for NVIDIA, on the initial AI, whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone said this is too much.
Remember they went from
that was what
3 to 9 billion, I think it was something to 9.
And that was like 450-ish, if
I think
if
less.
I remember.
I think it's
What was that gap?
this quarter.
Yeah,
right?
there.
Yeah,
What
that's
is it?
300.
300.
Yeah, and then it gaps in that week to 400.
And it's doubled since then. And then some.
Oh man, I sold
Unreal.
some today.
All right, let's get to Apple here because I think it's very interesting. The reaction is very interesting in what we saw today. Again, if you're joining on the weekend, this is Friday. Happy weekend. Here's an intraday chart for Apple. The reaction after the close on Thursday, very much negative on the China note coming off their earnings report, which was basically okay, I think it's safe to say, or in line with expectations to slightly better. The second 9:30 comes this morning, Apple just goes straight up all day.
Yeah. Because of China being a problem, but then they beat everywhere else.
Exactly.
Like, the thing is
But why
like,
was it, I don't understand, why was it so negative after the close yesterday? And then the market opens today and it's like, oops.
well,
Buy
so
programs
think about, so Tesla was, I mean, Apple was up, well, we could talk about Tesla too, sort of Freudian slip there. Meta was only up, was it 9 or 10% or something off that report, and then ripped once the market finally opened. I think we came in today, I think it was up 13 or 14%, and then just kept on going. I just feel like the programs got turned back on. Apple, here, I'll tell you why. Let me just go quickly why I think. It hit the 50-period moving average. I don't even want to say too much more about it. I feel that, Brendan, a lot of traders were like you and I. We talked about this right off the jump today. We thought that we could get an opportunity to buy this down into here, 170, 167 on a bad report. But the problem was, and here's the day on a 5-minute chart, like you said, you didn't get that opportunity. So if someone said, you know what, if it's not dipping early and we're holding 180, which we are, people like psychological levels, so that makes sense off the open, but then nobody came in to sell it. And then there was no selling, and when there was, they bought back the 185s and we closed at 185. I don't think the story's over. This name will fall. This name will fall for sure if the market reverses, because I do think it does have the biggest worry behind it with the Vision Pro. Will it sell? It's I know we're going to get to it, but you know, these are projected things. I know there's demand. I know there's lines out there. Someone on the chat today said there's still lineups at the New York store.
It's insane. I saw the pictures.
And they're not even like, what cycle are they even on? They're midway through the refresh of the iPhone.
Yeah.
Like you're not buying an iPhone 15 now when the 16's coming out in 6 months?
Yeah.
You know, with a possible AI refresh?
It's on, like I was talking about the Pixel the other day on the show as well. It's almost getting to a point where it's like a 6-month cycle. It's not even a full year, because 6 months into the new cycle year, they're already showing or leaking pictures of the next one.
Right, yeah, Pixel's
so
nice.
You're always, 6 months behind. They said 80,000, yeah, well, I want to show this real quick.
Same thing, maybe.
They said 80,000 they were going to make initially. This was pre-orders.
Is he saying peace to somebody, or I was saying I'd take 2?
I think he wants 2.
Tim Cook, I'll take 2 it up.
One for both hands.
1 for each eye?
200,000, and that was pre-orders. It hit stores on Friday, as you were saying.
So when does yours get delivered, or? I thought we were getting some for the show. We talked about that earlier.
No, pass.
Pass, okay, pass. All right, look at this.
How does Apple make money, Sean?
Here, right here. Wow, what a great segue there. How Apple makes money. How about this? So iPhone plus 6% year over year, MacBook plus 1% year over year, iPad still does 7 billion, but unfortunately that was down 25% year over year. And the wearables actually also down, and I think that had a little bit to do with the watch. We talked a little bit about that ban and people getting nervous about it. But look at this one. This is really the kicker. Services didn't even exist for these guys 10 years ago. You know, well, I mean, it did, but not these kind of numbers that we're pulling out right now. They bill me $50 every single month to stay part of the Apple.
Shout out to Ramin for that animated background, by the way.
That looks great. But look at services, up 11%. The idea of all of this is revenues continue to grow. A 46% margin right there on 120. Like Tesla's like, oh, you know, we got to put our margins from 18 to 17% and all that. 46% up there, scratch out operating expenses, you're at 34%. End of the day, it's a 28% net profit margin and still growing.
That's insane.
So I just think that, you know, with Apple TV, So they've bundled it all up. I think here in Canada, I think because with taxes and everything, I think it hit today or yesterday for first of the month. It was $50 and like something cents. So it's probably $44.99.
Apple TV?
No. So all of our whole family.
Oh, everything. Okay.
Yeah. So all five members get access to Apple TV, their own logins, whatever. Apple Music, iTunes, whatever it is. Also like Spotify.
Yeah.
Apple TV. We share something like 2.2 gigs or terabytes of data. You guys all know what the plan is. Anyways, needless to say, service revenues continue to be absolutely monstrous. And I like Apple moving forward. I just think that China is a big story there, and I am nervous about what's going to happen. The FXI looks absolutely horrible, by the way, right now. And I actually made the mistake of buying a little bit of Alibaba yesterday because I just can't believe the numbers that those guys put up. You put them side by side with Amazon, man. Alibaba should have like a 120, 130 handle on it, but it's getting hit because, rightfully so, the country that they're in and the lack of data being provided by those guys.
Earnings next week, too.
Woohoo! I think Alibaba's going to be a monster. That could be my trade.
It could be a problem, I think. And we got, what was it, NVIDIA, Qualcomm, and Apple all pointing directly at China as a problem going into not only next quarter, but the remainder of this year. So,
could that be the rug being, or what do they call putting over your eyes there? Not the rug being pulled, but because are we just being blinded about China? Is this just a good opportunity to get long and then miraculously?
I don't think we're there yet. I do agree, but I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah. We need a capitulated bond.
Yeah.
So okay.
All right. There's a ton more to get to. We're going to talk about Tesla.
There is?
I mean, the only thing really to note is
Ramin's all dressed all fancy. I feel like she's got somewhere to go tonight. We better wrap this thing up.
Elon's going to take his ball and move to Texas.
Oh yeah.
From Delaware, so they're going to move the incorporation from Delaware, so the judge in the court in Delaware will stop yelling at him, to Texas, so he can also get $56 billion, but that's fine.
Is there something about that story that doesn't make too much sense? And to me, it's that like $56 billion in compensation. I really don't understand why. Like the market cap of Tesla, Brendo.
When he negotiated that deal,
yeah,
Tesla's stock price was $25.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I do believe it's unfair. So I kind of agree. They only have. Do you know how much cash Tesla has on hand? $29 billion. So not only do they because they have to pay him 56. So the point is that they'd have to dilute their whole cash position or offer shares. Yeah. So obviously, as a Tesla shareholder, both of us,
remember, he wants more of before they start in AI.
So I just don't.
Problem solved.
So I just don't know if Tesla can hold through all of this. We talked about it. I'll do it again now in case people haven't watched from time. Tesla is at same levels it was. And I know, sure, he negotiated that somewhere down here. But Tesla hasn't moved in 4 years.
Think about the market cap in that time. Like it was $25.
Right. So when you're associating, hey, we'll give you this many shares on an optionable. I don't legally, which is why they're moving.
Yeah.
Delaware says no. Probably Texas will say yes.
Of course they will.
But aren't we afraid? Should be selling then? No. Does that not dilute the stock?
We are.
How are they going to?
We are both long the stock.
No, but I'm just saying, like $29 billion in cash. So how are they going to raise?
Shares.
Right.
I don't think he doesn't give two whatever.
So that's at least a 10% share offering downside. They only have their market cap. I wrote it down today, and I was going to talk about the switch from Tesla to Eli Lilly into the Mag 6 to the Mag 7. Tesla's market cap is $590 billion as of today.
And he wants 25% of it.
And he also wants a compensation worth 10% of the market cap.
Yeah.
Imagine if Satya Nadella came out and is like, "Oh, Microsoft, I want a compensation package," and it's not that Elon is wrong because it's in his contract.
But think about.
But the thing is like, that's a lot.
10%. Think about how insane that ask was back when it was $25 a share. And he had.
But I think it's just extrapolated, right?
Exactly. No, but he had the mentality to say.
Oh yeah, he had the forward thing.
I'm going to build this thing into a monster. So reward the guy.
Do you know what number he fell down to of the most richest individual in the world? He's number 3 now.
Really?
Yeah. The LVMH guy.
Bezos took him?
I don't think it's Bezos. I thought it was that guy in India. There was another guy.
So I saw the other day that he had Bezos by
I'm going to Google it now.
By a few billion.
Then it is Bezos then.
It might not be, but I'm just saying he was still above him when I saw the last.
Well, you see what Amazon stock did today? Highest net worth individual. Okay, I'm gonna look it up, and if you want to talk about anything else?
Yeah, I want to. Let's move on because we have a ton
you're
of
right.
stuff
It is
too.
Jeff Bezos.
It was third.
Yeah, it's Bernard Arnault,
Yeah.
the guy from LVMH. It was before all of this. Elon was there, but they're going back and forth. Yep.
Not that it matters.
Good one. Oh yeah, the guy in India. The guy in India is not even in the top 10. There was a huge hit piece on
Is that the construction?
whatever that was. I can't remember, but it was something
They
to
have
do
like
with
this
all,
massive conglomerate.
yeah, and everything was like piled in.
Yeah.
And then when they broke it all out, there was nothing.
Actually, nothing.
I can't. I don't want to like
remember that.
slander that, but there was something there.
All right, there's a ton of earnings next week. We're not done yet. Palantir, Spotify, Snapchat, Alibaba, Uber, PayPal, Disney. Just name a few.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Those are all great names to trade, actually. You know what I mean?
I want to go to Spotify real quick.
And Joe Rogan.
First, yeah, because of that. If you missed it on Friday, Rogan re-ups with Spotify. I was reading apparently he's going to be allowed to put it.
Re-up?
Yeah, it was the second one.
Okay.
Yeah, they renewed.
Yeah.
But apparently he's going to be able to now put his show on other platforms again. Because when he went from YouTube to Spotify, it was like a exclusivity deal.
Me and Brent are exclusive to TraderTV.Live, which is why you have to hit the like.
Only until Spotify calls.
Yeah.
And then I'm exclusive to
No, but
whomever.
I don't know. You like the Spotify story? I mean, it is just. If you want to talk about missing the boat on something, I mean, a year ago Spotify was $75. This is a year ago, right here. This is this is February.
Like Sean, they're handing out these contracts for podcasts like it's free.
Yeah, but they did it today and it was 1.39. Yeah,
Have you ever listened to Call Her Daddy?
Yeah, if anybody
Call Her Daddy.
Call Her Daddy?
Yeah.
You're going to get me in trouble.
She just got a $60 million contract from Spotify.
And she's probably not as personable as you or I.
Ramin likes her.
I'm just saying. Ramin? I'm not clearing any name. Brendan said it. Okay, but the idea there with Spotify is I don't really care what me or you think.
Yeah.
It bounced. Well, I do. Sorry, I do care about your feelings.
I don't
My
care
bad. No, but I mean, the stock doesn't lie. There's the 200 period. It broke through it, and it's not looking back. That's 184. I'd get nervous if we broke through there. We'll see what comes
Looks
with
good,
earnings.
though. Like, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks great. Again, we can look at it on a daily chart here for anybody looking. Anyways, $75 a year ago, now 220, still going. Look at it, just ride this. I mean, it's looking really healthy. I own Spotify on their direct list, which I think was $50, $60. I'm out of it. I have no idea what profit I took on that or not. A key level for me on this name is going to be Palantir. We've talked about this possibly being a buy moving forward. It's right at that $16 mark, Brendan. We've bounced off there pretty much this whole year. If you took that long, it's been good. I would wait for the report on that.
Yeah.
But if they can beat, I think you go long off the open, and then you just ride that into that $16 level. And then there was a
Alibaba, Uber, Disney.
Okay, so on the market recap show, which everybody is watching, we're getting record numbers. I want to thank everybody, and that, of course, that's to do with earnings. But I specifically asked pretty much every single CMT that we had on this past week what they thought about Disney ahead of earnings. And if you look at the chart right now, this actually looks like it's potentially breaking out. I don't care about that whole what your opinion is on their go woke stuff or any of that kind of stuff. We don't try not to talk politics, but when it's in the name, it's in the name. They had their lawsuit dropped with DeSantis. I just feel like the more that we talk about it, the more it hits it. And I don't hear that much talk anymore. We'll see if they can start to perform, but you just bounced off. This was the key for me. This is the 200 period. We didn't break it. And it's starting to slope up. And if we get that, it should be an indicator that we are now ready to ramp a little bit higher. I'm excited for Disney to get to that $100 level and then see what happens if we break it. Because up into here, man, that 103, 104, that's creating a huge move back up to the upside. I really like Disney, but they got to show us what's up. We know the theme parks make a lot of money, but let's see if they're getting more net streamers or not. Yeah. Netflix had a big number. That didn't really affect the stock, but they're holding out highs here. And for me, man, DraftKings just signed LeBron James to a deal. Gambling.
Did you see that did nothing for DraftKings?
Yeah, because what is it?
I mean, I thought it would at least do.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I would think, you're right. So I'm just more excited in the fact that these corporations are putting money towards gambling. They have ESPN bets. And Brendo, like my brother-in-law is coming down. We talked about this last week as my one good thing. to sit down below at the Leaf game, it was, I got a good deal, $3.50 a ticket.
Yeah,
so I paid $7 bills.
That's actually pretty cheap.
For a pair.
Yeah.
So I put that, some of my friends from Brampton, we were talking about that because one of my friends was like, because we were talking about, I was at the All-Star festivities, and the All-Star festivities are taking over Toronto, and the guy was like, oh, anybody going to the All-Star game? I was like, unfortunately, I got family stuff. And I was like, he's like, well, he was working with the Leafs. And I was like, why didn't you, I should have came to this guy to get these Leaf tickets. I was like, I just dropped $7 bills on 2 tickets. And then everybody in the chat was like, you could buy a TV for $700. Like, what are you doing going to these events for that much money? So that's where I bring it back to people sitting at home and potentially streaming more games. If ESPN could get some of these exclusivity deals, ABC, so on and so forth going forward. Are we getting, my watch is dinging too. Oh, it's these two jokers. See, I told you, they want to wrap this thing up probably, right? Anyways, I like Disney. I want to see what they talk about to stream. If by any chance they could sell off ABC or ESPN, I think it's a nice one.
Ramin was very kind enough to remind us to ask everyone, please go right now and leave a review, especially if you're on Apple or Spotify. Leave a review, leave a comment. We'll read all of them, we promise.
I think that was a lot of fun.
You know what else I just saw? Roblox next week. ARM is next week. Pinterest next week. Like Affirm.
We're gonna have a great podcast.
It's gonna be monstrous.
Week,
make sure you
Affirm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like there's a lot of huge ones.
How could Affirm have an EPS forecast of minus 29 cents and people are buying this thing? People have to understand that rates are not going anywhere for a bit. I feel like that's 100% right. We're not getting cuts till May. And I just think some of these companies that don't make money, do you really want to sit in them and potentially suffer a down swoon until their report? We're going to find out there on Thursday. It's Affirm. That's one of the ones I'm excited about.
Here's an interesting idea. What if we do get a cut?
Yes, sir.
But then we don't get anything else for the rest of the year.
Brendan, you weren't trading back in the day when we were trading and cuts would come out of the blue.
I remember that.
Oh, you? Oh, okay. So there you go.
100% I remember.
So
it was like you show up on a Monday and it's like, oh, by the way, we're cutting rates today.
I know.
Yeah. No, the market was nuts.
Are they done doing that? I feel like they must be.
I mean, I tried to throw that at Frank the other day when he was on. Shout out Frank.
Yeah, a surprise rate cut or something.
Like, no, but what has happened to going into a Fed meeting in general without that notion of 100% certainty it's going to be this?
Yeah.
Right? Like, can't we just get one meeting where it's like 60-40?
Remember we talked about that last podcast. I was so excited for March. I was like, finally March, we're going to get 40. It was 60-40, and now it's 80-20 on that. Maybe we got it. You know what? Maybe May will be a decision of 25 or 50, and then we can get some more. But that was a great day trading on Thursday, by the way.
Wild.
Ooh-wee.
Wild.
Made some cash on that day, baby.
You make any trades this week?
In the long term, yeah. So we can come over here. Good question there. We bought some Alibaba. And I actually bought it yesterday ahead of Amazon. I thought Amazon was going to come out big, and it is. Alibaba, an e-commerce name, they're in China. But the thing is, it's underneath the 50. We have a ways to go to the 200. So I bought it ahead of earnings. I knew they were reporting last week, and my eyes are honestly just on this. And I just hope I don't miss it. But I will get out because I'm still stuck long, man. I was a buyer of Alibaba for a while because I actually believed that China was going to be okay. Alibaba was a $300 name.
It's right back to lows, eh?
Yeah. So if you look at the weekly, I feel like this is a buy. We talked about if at some point China could capitulate to the downside, which would give you maybe a 65. Maybe it does happen on Alibaba's earnings.
Yeah, no.
But the numbers that Alibaba are going to put out, and we'll talk about this next podcast, are going to blow everyone's mind. And then you're going to think like, why are they valued down here?
Yeah.
And it's because where's Jack Ma?
They found Jack Ma.
They did. They found him. So hopefully they can go back up on that. I like Alibaba. And then today, you asked if any other trades. Yeah, so today I did step in and I sold about 5% of each position that I have in Meta and in NVIDIA. Enough is enough, and we'll take some profit. But then I understand Neil's point as well. It's like, you're selling stuff, but then are you putting it back in anything? And my question, he always likes to sell and put in the index. You and I talked about this. For now, I just want to sit in cash a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough to
because I just don't really want to buy anything at these highs. But it's been wrong.
I did nothing. So we'll see how next week goes. Apple looks juicy. I think there's more for Tesla at some point, but it remains to be seen. I'll pick some up, maybe 5% lower.
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Yeah, that 170 is looking good.
I didn't say it last time, but did I? We talked about Rivian? I think we talked about Rivian.
Yeah,
like
we always talk about what's up with
as well.
Rivian now.
No, I bought some.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. You mentioned that.
All right, let's go on, shall we?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
What is good for you this week?
Yeah, so I was trying to find an image here because I was like, okay, you were all about this, and I knew we were coming out with it, so I don't really have one, except for this. Hold on, maybe I can get this as an image if it goes out here. Open image in new tab. Oh yeah, okay, it looks okay.
Boom.
So I was at the NHL All-Star festivities last night, and honestly, whether or not you are a fan of hockey or not, first of all, did you see Michael Bublé last night? So, okay, so no one will know this because, first of all, who the hell is Michael Bublé? But,
Bubbles.
yeah, Canadian, kind of like he's not like an opera singer, but he has that big voice.
He's what's it called? A crooner?
Crooner.
Yes, yeah.
Good one, a crooner. Anyways, apparently, so there was 4 coaches. There was Tate McRae from Calgary. There was Justin Bieber. There was Will Arnett, who was my kids. So as Will Arnett was talking, I'm like, you know that's Batman, right? And they were like, because he does the Lego Batman.
Oh, okay.
You probably don't know that.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So he's doing he's like, we draft like, like Austin Matthews. And it sounded really cool. But anyways, he just has that voice. And then the other coach was Michael Bublé. And anyways, in the afterwards, he was just telling a story, and he goes, man, he's like, my friend gave me what he told me was a microdose, but I guarantee it wasn't. And he's like, the whole time at the draft, I was sitting out there, and he's like, I thought I was on Blades of Glory, and I thought I was drafting my fantasy. Anyways, go back, no, honestly. And then Will Arnett standing right behind him, he's like, or right beside him, because they're doing the presser. And he's like, man, you just lost like a couple of like sponsorships and all that stuff. But anyways, no, the All-Star game is taking over Toronto. There's free skating at Nathan Phillips Square. There's free rental there. They're doing a mascot challenge at Mattamy. There's so many things happening, a lot of them for free around the city of Toronto. It's NHL All-Star. The last time it was here was in the year 2000. And it was really fun, man. I got the hat on today. I'm repping that. I don't think the hat worked well in the podcast, so we won't wear it again. But it's a lot of fun, and we went there last night. I tweeted it out. We had a great, here, maybe I'll show it on Twitter there as well. Yeah, we got the hat. The funny thing is, like, I had to buy the kids, like a hoodie there, $130.
I was going to say
That's so
$150.
ridiculous. But here it is right here. Maybe I can call this up. It was a great time. Here we are. Here, I'm trying to show it. Ramin, you want to get out of here? There it is right here. So here it is right here.
Busy.
Good one. There's the PWHL 3-on-3. So here we are. We're partying it up. It was a great time. Packed. There I am. Here's my daughter. She's loving it as well. And it was a great time. So take your family. Relatively cheap.
What are tickets for?
I have no idea. I actually asked the wife that. I was like, how much are these?
Don't even look.
I don't even remember. Yeah. No, but this was just a pre-event.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was that expensive. Maybe 60.
No. For the actual game, I mean.
Yeah. I didn't even try. We're super busy this weekend. But what is your one good thing?
I, at the beginning of last year, got into running.
Right. Yeah, you're skinny now. What the hell's wrong with you?
No, I'm not. I have a goal this year.
Ooh, I like it. Half marathon. Woohoo!
21 kilometers.
Attaboy. What are you looking at now?
I've done 10K.
Oh.
Every Saturday for the past 3 weeks. So I'm building. But
on a treadmill, or are you running around the city?
It's freezing outside.
Is it?
Yeah.
I see people running.
I'm not a winter runner. I just
What?
got
No, seriously.
Okay.
Runners.
Focus.
It's 45 degrees Fahrenheit.
I'm not running in the winter. Pass.
Okay.
I just got these.
Anyways, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And those are super comfortable. Those are ASICs.
Insane. ASICS Nova Blast. Shout out to ASICS.
What are they called? Noble? No, I gotta say it.
Nova Blast.
Nova Blast.
Free. They're mind-boggling.
Are yours green or?
Yeah, same
Good.
color.
Money color.
Same exact color.
All right. How much do those run you?
They're not that bad. They're like
$2?
180. Yeah.
All right.
Normal these days. Anyways, yeah. Shout out to ASICS. Great shoes.
And that's another one.
Great running. Episode 12 is in the books. Have a fantastic weekend.
Kablackow.
We got to get out of here. So.
Yes. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe. We're back, baby, next week.
Bye, y'all.
Ciao.
Crushed it.
That was all right.